WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Quentin Smith. Tropical Storm Barry is slowly moving north through the Gulf of Mexico, and it could make landfall sometime tomorrow. Now, as we've been reporting all week long, Mississippi could be feeling the effects. For the latest on that, we check in with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson for a first look at our forecast. Keith?
Quentin, already some fringe effects from that system this evening with some of those showers and thunder showers, and we got one of those nice rainbows there in Caledonia earlier, and some of these anti-crepuscular rays, if you saw those opposite the sun this evening, amazing to see in the Columbus area. Now, right now, just east of Tupelo, Manatee, Fulton, getting some showers and storms, some heavy downpours, a little bit of thunder and lightning. We've got a little bit of a boundary shifting from southeast to the northwest, also in Alabama too. That's probably going to be about it for the rest of tonight. Here's the latest on Barry. The 10 o'clock update, sustained wind still at 65, just drifting to the west at 3. The track takes it into Louisiana tomorrow as a Cat 1 hurricane at 75-mile-per-hour sustained wind. The remnant low back to our west. We are on the east of the center this weekend, and that means areas of flooding are possible, several inches of rain around here, isolated tornadoes, can't rule that out, and cooler temperatures too in the grand scheme of things. So tomorrow still warm at 88, but that's cooler than where we've been. Bands of storms, and again, a slight tornado risk in the afternoon. We'll detail all of this in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Keith. State agencies are mobilizing, and several are on standby as Barry approaches. Courtney Ann Jackson has the latest.
Ready and waiting for Barry. That's the story with state agencies today. The Mississippi Urban Search and Rescue Task Force has a 24-person water rescue crew that deployed Friday morning.
We're anticipating doing some work tomorrow.
The crew split in half, with 12 pre-positioning in Pike County and the other 12 at Camp Shelby. Now they'll wait on a call.
If a local agency, county or city, exhausted their resources that they have available, we would respond into those areas, and what we would do is we would respond with usually 2 boats, one to do the primary mission itself and the other one is a safety boat.
MDOT also has crews on standby for a couple of functions. First, monitoring to see if there's a need to close flooded highways.
Ways, they can present a very, very dangerous situation, especially at night, because even though if it only looks like it's just an inch of water above it, that could be, looks are deceiving in flooded situations like that. So it could be, the road could be washed out completely. We just never know what kind of situation you're dealing with when you come up to a flooded roadway.
And then there's the potential that debris will need to be cleared.
MDOT personnel are the first responders. The ground gets saturated in this kind of storm, and then with high winds, they can easily knock over trees. Any trees that block a roadway are going to completely shut it down. So we have crews that are on standby to immediately get out there, day or night, chop down these trees, get them out of the way.
All agencies are preparing for the worst and hoping for the best.
If they've been in these areas before and they know they've had flooding in there before, leave now. Don't wait until it's too late.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
Earlier this evening, Governor Phil Bryant declared a state of emergency for the entire state of Mississippi in anticipation of Barry's landfall. Heavy rains back in February left parts of Calhoun County underwater. Now, with Tropical Storm Barry possibly bringing more rain to the area, people are watching the skies. Riley Livingston speaks to the EMA director about how he's preparing for possible floods.
High water, displaced residents, washed out roads. Back in February, parts of Calhoun County experienced it all. Now, roads are dry, but with uncertainty surrounding Tropical Storm Barry, Emergency Manager Randy Skinner says he's getting ready for a repeat.
We always plan for the worst. We're pre-staging sandbags at this time in the areas that were affected in the February storm around the Jimmy Beckley area. Right now we have 2,000 pre-staged, already filled. We also have another load that is coming in, empty sandbags, but we're securing sand to put in those bags and have it ready if we need it.
Skinner says heavy rains could cause lasting impacts.
When the floods happened in February, Grenada Lake was currently at its lowest stage. In those 4 days in February when we had our flood last time, the lake itself rose 23, 24 feet. So this time there's nowhere for the water to go because Grenada's already filled to 12 foot above Summer Pool. So if we get another 11, 12 inches, there's nowhere for the water to go, so it's going to hold longer.
He is encouraging residents to have a plan in place, stay weather aware, and keep an eye on water levels.
We're trying to get the word out now, basically. So if you see the water rising, please do not stay. Find a place to go then, because after it starts rising, it'll be too late.
That was Riley Livingston reporting there. Skinner says Mississippi Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks is on standby in case water rescues are needed. Well, last night's lightning is believed to be responsible for a house fire in Alabama. The Kennedy Fire Department responded to this home that you see here, which is just off of Highway 96. It took several crews, a total of 4 hours, to put out the blaze.
Yesterday evening around 5, we received the page for a house that was struck by lightning. By the time we got there, which was less than 5 minutes, the house was fully engulfed.
And the good news is no one was injured in the house fire. It was a grand celebration as the city of Louisville bids farewell to a man who spent nearly 40 years in public service. A big crowd was on hand for a retirement reception honoring outgoing police chief L.M. Claiborne. Dozens of city, county, and state leaders, along with law enforcement officers, came out to the celebration. The veteran officer was given plaques and gifts as everyone thanked him for his service. Sean Holderness was recently named the new chief of police in Louisville.
Here's our Alpha Insurance camera in downtown Tupelo. Looking back to the east, there's a little bit of thunder and lightning out there, some heavy downpours too, some showers and storms now, but more possible this weekend. Your full forecast is next.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
My, oh my, did you see the sunset this evening? I think it's the best sunset we've had all summer long. Look at these towering clouds right there. Gorgeous color too. If you look back to the west, vibrant color, showers and storms. And then if you look to the east, we saw these rays and it looked like something out of a space novel or something weird was happening. But those are just anti-crepuscular rays opposite the setting sun. Not out of the ordinary here, but sometimes not quite as vibrant as what we had out there this evening. Really neat to see in the Golden Triangle area. Also some rainbows. There's one right there. Some of those showers and storms moving on through this evening. Always nice to see some rainbows. So we still have some rain from about Bruce and Calhoun City to Pontotoc to Tupelo, and just moving out of Fulton, some heavy downpours here. Also in the northwestern Alabama. All of that is moving back to the northwest. Heads up for you in Boonville. A little bit of rain coming your way, and you can see this activity going back to the northwest. That's probably going to be the last little band for tonight. Futurecast picking up on it, doing a pretty good job right now, taking that back to the northwest, and then for the rest of us, probably not a lot going forward. So 70s for lows tonight. Most showers and storms will fade away here. For our Saturday, a fairly quiet morning. We'll warm up into the mid to upper 80s, but from mid-afternoon onward, a chance for some showers and storms around here. The latest on Barry, there it is. Wind gusts still over 60 miles per hour offshore. Gusting over 30 in New Orleans and Baton Rouge right now. Sustained wind officially at 65 with some much higher gusts, obviously. And that is the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. So a Cat 1 hurricane at 7 o'clock in the morning making its landfall there in Louisiana. And by Sunday evening, a remnant low up there across northern Louisiana. So this thing's going to be a slow mover all weekend long. We will be on the eastern side of it, so that still means a heavy rainfall threat and also an isolated tornado threat. Now, as of right now, maybe 2 to 8 inches of rain in our region. Higher totals west of US 45, closer to I-55 and points west. You may actually get some of those higher amounts, but in our eastern zones, along and east of 45, maybe an inch to 4 at the most here. That's the way it's looking at this point. It all depends on the exact track of that center. But outside of that, we'll have a chance for some of these isolated tornadoes with those little bands moving on through. Flooding and flash flooding a concern. And if you do see some saturated soil with a little bit of wind, that could be over 20 miles per hour at times. We may see some scattered power outages. But tomorrow morning, your Saturday, we should have a fairly quiet start. By midday, these little bands start to come on in from the southwest. These would be the ones that would have that isolated tornado potential. If we're lucky, we'll pulse things down a little bit for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night before more of those bands spiral on in for our Sunday. And then the core of the system, just east of the center, that's what we will be watching out for the heavy rainfall threat. So there's actually a moderate risk for some flash flooding as far as north Mississippi with this core of the system just east of that remnant low. And if that tracks into our area, that's where we would see the heaviest rain. Now, if this thing shifts back to the west just a little bit, we may not see that heavy rainfall. But I will tell you, as far as the isolated tornado threat, I think we may have more of that on Sunday versus tomorrow. However, that will be a concern basically all weekend long, even in the Monday too. The other thing here will be a nice little cool down from the mid to upper 90s, only upper 70s Sunday, around 80 Monday. Heavier rain though, and then we're back into the 90s for next week. All right, there's your update on Barry and your weekend forecast. More of the show after the break.
Welcome back. Continuing the spirit of education. That's what three sisters have been working on in Pickensville for the past decade. After almost 10 years, the historic Pickensville Rosenwald School has reopened to the public, this time as a museum. Our Cash Matlock spoke with the Locke sisters and has more on their labor of love.
Dozens of tourists braved the near 100-degree heat in Pickensville to get a glimpse inside the historic Rosenwald School and perhaps a glimpse into the past.
It means the world to us. It's a dream come true. We never wanted our school to die.
Mary Locke Fuzzymore and her two sisters have been working since 2010 to restore their beloved schoolhouse, the same school they attended as children with 9 of their siblings.
All 12 of us actually attended this school. We grew up in the community.
My father brought me to school on the back of a white horse.
All 3 Locke sisters grew up and went on to live as far away as New York, but they always dreamed of returning home.
In my mind, it was always that after retirement, I'm coming back to my hometown because the land was calling.
The sisters say the new museum is continuing the spirit of education to a new generation.
Give them some hope to let them know they can rise above and beyond.
It was about taking the village to raise a child. So I'm a product of this village.
We try to educate the community, especially the youth, that they don't have to leave. Apply yourselves, be the best that you can be, and hopefully whatever trade you decide to take up or whatever career you decide to do, you'll find some time to give back to a place such as this, because this is your home, and I'm very proud of it.
The sisters say they hope the museum will continue to grow in the years to come.
We expect to see it. It will be, not expect, it will be bigger.
This place deserves more. We cannot let it die. There's too much invested in not only this building, but investment in us from our ancestors. And we need to keep it going.
That was our Cash Matlock reporting there. Now, the historic Pickensville Rosenwald School Museum is funded through a public grant from the University of Michigan. For more information, just head on over to our website at WCBI.com. Our 60 Schools in 60 Days countdown continues. We check in on the Amory Panthers coming up next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
The 19th stop of the high school football tour visits with the Amory Panthers. The Panthers will be tested in a new class and a new division in 2019, but will lean on one of the most experienced rosters in the area.
WCBI's 60 Schools in 60 Days is brought to you by Sparklight.
With that group and then our group together as older classmen, man, this could be the year, honestly.
The expectations are sky high in Amory. The Panthers returned 17 of its 22 starters from a season ago, a battle-tested group that will take the hardships of the past 2 seasons into Region 1 3A. The first time in more than a decade, Amory will compete in Class 3A.
You expect big things this year, but we're still fairly young in spots, so we'll have some bumps and bruises early on, but hopefully with our non-division schedule that we play, that'll kind of get us ready for our division schedule.
It prepared us for teams like Pontotoc, Shannon, Itawamba. I think it prepared us real good for teams we're going to play this year.
My expectations don't change. I mean, I want to play the best there is, whether it's Tupelo at 6A or it's Smithville at 1A. I want to play my game how it's supposed to be, and I know this whole team does as well.
The new division won't be seeing any new faces under center against Amory. Hunter Jones returning for his 3rd season as starting QB. Jones made a jump a season ago, completing 65% of his passes while throwing and rushing for a combined 31 touchdowns. The rising junior wants to step up in a bigger way than just the stat sheet.
This year I got to step into a bigger role. I mean, last year I was a little bit of a leader, but this year I got to be the man. And this is my team now. I got to take it up underneath my wing, and we got to roll with it.
He's the straw that stirs the drink for us as far on offense. For us, good football player, got a little moxie about him. So, we're obviously excited about having him back and then having the other guys back as well.
Jones and company will open the 2019 season with a familiar face, taking on Itawamba AHS. With Amory on the high school football tour, Tom Ebel, WCBI Sports.
60 Schools in 60 Days with Amory High School was brought to you by Cleveland Moffett Funeral Home and Monroe County Farm Bureau.
Plenty of more tour stops still to come. Will continue throughout the weekend. Saturday, we'll be checking in on the Water Valley Blue Devils, seeing what they're up to. And then on Sunday, we'll be checking in on the Winona Tigers to see how they're preparing. And mark your calendars because Alabama week officially begins on Monday with the Aliceville Yellow Jackets, followed by the Blue Devils in Sulligent on Tuesday. And if you've missed any stops along the way, you can always go check those out on our website at WCBI.com. The art of giving back to the community was on full display at the Roy E. Hazel Gymnasium in Aberdeen. The high school hosting the 25th annual Razzle Dazzle basketball camp. Open to all ages, kids received instruction on basketball basics, followed by a few special visits from some Mississippi football stars such as NFL pro Josh Boyd. Camp organizer Roy Hazel talked about the importance of giving back to the Aberdeen community.
When we have the Michael Jordans in your house, the LeBron James right in your house, teach our children, the basic things, and they'll grow up and make their way in life. We live our lives, but we want to give back to our kids.
Important role for a person like me because of the way I came up and the environment I had to come through and the things I had to go through. And I think it's important to show them that through all the adversity, someone can come out and make it to these places and these levels that we need to go to be the people that we need to be. So I think it's important for me to come out and show these guys that they can do it and they need to do it.
Mississippi State basketball in the process of finalizing its schedule for the upcoming season. Matchups and game times for the 2019 Myrtle Beach Invitational were announced. State will open up in the tournament during Thanksgiving week against Tulane. The Bulldogs begin with a game against Tulane Thursday and will play either Villanova or Middle Tennessee come Friday. That's it for sports. We'll have more for you after the break. Stay with us.
The town of Bruce is celebrating the 29th annual Sawmill Festival. More than 60 vendors have taken over the town square selling arts and crafts, clothes, jewelry, and other goods. And of course, there's also food and entertainment as well as political speeches. The festival kicked off today with civic groups hosting one big event and agreeing to split the profits to help the community throughout the year.
I just love the atmosphere. I love to be out here cooking. I love cook outside anyway. And I just love to meet new people and people from all different counties.
I like supporting the local organizations. This is my relatives here. And I like exploring new things, finding objects and artifacts that I don't usually see around.
Now, the festival will run through Saturday evening. For more information about the activities at the festival, just head on over to our website at WCBI.com.
Another live look in downtown Tupelo right now. We've had some thunder and lightning out there, some downpours still out and about. You can see that right there. We're tracking Barry for this weekend. More updates all weekend long, also over on social media and WCBI.com.
We're going to expect heavy rain. Huh?
There you go.
There you go. Have a good night, everyone.